pages and
Are
see
we
if we are.
live?
We're live.
4, 3. You've done this before.
Oh, no. Okay, wait a second. Let's just make sure that we're live. So I'm going to jump on Facebook really quickly and see if we are. If we're
Well,
not,
I will affirm right now that I'm alive. Okay,
yes,
I'm live.
it's Gregg Braden live. Okay, let me make sure that we're live on your page. And if you're here watching us, do me a favor, please. And hold on a second. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Hold on. I think I'm on your personal page. There we go, author. There we go.
You know, Liz, it's amazing. You have to be a technician as well as a personality to manage one of these Facebook lives, and you do both. You do both really well, really well.
Okay, I think we got it. So, Maria is here. Maria says she gives us a purple heart. Thank you, Maria. And okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the fabulous New York Times, 5-time New York Times bestselling author, drum roll please, Gregg Braden.
Liz, it's wonderful to be with you tonight. It is, this is the time of year we're both in the same time zone.
I know.
And part of the year we're not, interestingly, because you're in Arizona, I'm in New Mexico. So it's 5 p.m. in the mountain states, and we are live here tonight.
I know, it's so fun. And for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Liz Dawn, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Celebrate Your Life Events. And next year we're celebrating our 30th anniversary.
Wow.
I know. It's just a little weird.
So how many of those 30 years, Liz, have I worked with you? At least 20.
At least 25.
Because I was working with your mom in the early years. Yeah.
No. So welcome everyone, and we see you making comments. So this is so cool. We've got Gunilla from Sweden. All I know how to say is "God jul," which is coming up for you very soon, because you know Jamie lived in Sweden.
Yeah.
Yes. And then Amber's here, and Allie's here, and Christy's here, and Judith is here, and Maria. This is fantastic. So thank you all for joining us. And so, Gregg, let's talk about you.
What should we say?
We should say really cool things. So tell me, well, I know what you've been up to, but why don't you share with everyone really what you've been up to and what's happening in a couple of weeks for you in terms of you've been sequestered writing and that.
Now I know what you're talking about. So first, I just want to say welcome to everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Obviously, this is completely unscripted. It is a dance, and as the man, I'm going to follow the ladies' lead. So thank you, Liz.
Yes.
We've got a lot of things going on here. I for the first time, I took the first 7 months of this year off to write a new book. Typically, I write the books on airplanes and airports, in hotels, and this book I felt warranted me taking the time away from travel and from the live events. It is, for me, going to be the foundation of the work that I do at our combined presentation later this year with Bruce Lipton, Sue Morter, Anita Morjani, and we'll talk about that. But the book is titled Pure Human. And I think it's a really important book, Liz, because there is a concerted effort happening in our lives right now, not in the future, but right now, to lead us to believe that we need something outside of ourselves to be the best version of ourselves, to compete in the world in business, to compete in the world in terms of health. And that effort now is being punctuated by the proposals to replace the human body with artificial intelligence, computer chips in the brain, RFID chips in the body, sensors moving through the circulatory system, replacing the immune system with chemicals. It is part of a movement that is called transhuman. Trans simply means beyond. So it is a beyond human movement. I'm pushing back on that. And I'm pushing back on it because when we give ourselves away to the technology, our
Mhm.
natural systems begin to atrophy, and pretty soon they don't work anymore at all. In one generation, we pass that to our children through epigenetics, the next generation. This is how you lose a species. This is how we become something very, very different than what we've
Mhm.
imagined in the past. And there are people. I was just with a group this last week who said, "Well, isn't this a part of evolution? Isn't this the next step in our evolution?" And I very firmly said, "No, this is not natural evolution.
Mhm.
It is an artificial evolution." So here's the reason this is important. Because just as we're being encouraged to give our humanness away, new discoveries are telling us that we are absolutely not what we've been told. We're more than we've ever even imagined. The science is revealing human capacities that border on the miraculous. In many cases, we meet and even exceed the abilities of the AI and the computer chips. And I know that's a big statement. This is coming
Mhm.
right out of the Salk Institute in Northern California. It's coming out of the research institutions. And let me just say quickly why this is happening. The big shift is that in the past, we've always thought of our bodies as sticky, gooey, wet, mushy, biological stuff. And we write about it in biology books. Well, here's the shift. Within the last few years, scientists have begun looking at the human body from an IT perspective, information technology. And what they found is that our bodies, biologically, we are what are called gated circuits, GATED. We're circuits. Our cells function as resistors, transistors, capacitors. We read photons of light, which is information. We emit that information. We store and retrieve information more efficiently than the computer chip can do. And here's the thing, we don't have to know any of it because we regulate it through thought, feeling, emotion, breath, focus, movement, and nutrition. This is our user interface.
Mhm.
So, at the very time in history where we stand on the precipice of losing our humanness, we're discovering that we are a soft technology. We're we're so much more than we've been led to believe, and this is the function of everything that we're seeing. All of the very slick marketing that is
Mhm.
encouraging us, encourage our young people to have a computer chip in the brain to play video games, or older people to have an RFID chip in their hands so they don't lose their driver's license. There are consequences to all of this. So the new book, there's two parallel themes. One is that we're being encouraged to give our humanness away, and we can talk more about that. The flip side is that the science is giving us the reasons to not only uh, change our mind about the humanness, but to gain a deeper respect, Liz, for what it means to be human, and even a pride in our humanness in a time when we've all been conditioned to see ourselves as flawed, frail, weak, powerless beings, believing we need something in the world around us. And this is
Mhm.
why our young people are being indoctrinated into these beliefs. So these are two parallel themes in the book. And all of it is happening under the umbrella. And I'll use the word, I'll identify it, and then I'll define it. It all is coming under the umbrella of what we call human divinity. Now, I know for a lot of people, when they hear the word divinity, they link it to religion. And I'm not surprised because the word comes with some baggage. There are schools of divinity and it's been linked to religion. But if our viewers have never heard this, I'm going to invite you to check this out. The contemporary definition of divinity, you're going to love this. It is simply the ability to transcend perceived limitations. That's it. Transcend, to become more than perceived limitations. Perceived means they may not even be real. We may be living limits that have been indoctrinated into our thinking through our culture, our religion,
Mhm.
scientific textbooks that aren't even real. Human divinity is the key to transcending the great issues, the great challenges that we see in our lives. Human divinity, let me give you examples: the ability for empathy, sympathy, compassion, the ability to love is an expression of human divinity, the ability to heal our bodies, the ability to forgive. These are all examples of human divinity. There's a segment of our scientific society that wants to replace those cherished human attributes with the efficiency and the speed of computer chips, of sensors and nanobots and AI. I'm pushing back hard on that because I believe we're worth preserving as a species. Certainly,
Yes.
we've got some work we can do, but we were given, these are attributes that were given to us. And I'm using that word intentionally because the best science of the modern world is showing that we humans today are not the product of random processes, random mutations, and lucky biology, Darwin's idea of evolution. That works for other forms of life. It doesn't work when it comes to us. Something happened 200,000 years ago. I talk about it in the book. Something happened 200,000 years ago. We were given mutations that did not happen slowly, gradually over a long period of time. Those mutations are what give us our uniquely human capacities. The neocortex with the mirror neurons and all the abilities that would sympathy, empathy, compassion, self-regulation, the immune response, the ability to self-regulate our bodies, the ability for complex speech. All of those things happened 200,000 years ago, and they are the product of an intentional act. So it doesn't say who or what, but it says it's not the product of a natural evolutionary process. So the point is, we showed up 200,000 years ago. We were given these extraordinary potentials. We're about to give them away, Liz, to technology before we even know what it means to be human. And I think it's important, and especially now, because I want the conversation you and I are having tonight. I want the program that I'm doing with my brother Bruce and my sister Anita and Sue Morter. That book, I want it all to be relevant in our lives, so that we've got some structure, we can make sense. We're wired to thrive in times just like these if we can tap these divine processes and not be afraid and not give them away to the technology that we're being encouraged, just as we're being encouraged to do.
Exactly.
That makes sense? All that?
Actually, it makes total sense, because one of the things that I grabbed onto was when you started to talk about AI technology and how it begins to atrophy part of our brains or part of our humanness. And I've noticed that, this new thing called ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
It's super easy if I need something grammatically correct, or if I need something changed up, or if I need language that I'm not thinking of it on my own. However, I can also see how you can become dependent on it and not use your own creative resources to come up with material. So I want to kind of piggyback on what you were saying about how we really keep our humanness and how we really step into that. And Dawn Severato, you said something really very heartfelt and something that some of us are feeling. A lot of humans are tired of life, to be honest with you. She's just sick of it all. And for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Liz, and I've been doing what my company's called. Sorry, I have a kitten walking across the screen.
Mine are on the my kitties are on the other side of the door because they love the camera.
He's still a baby.
Is he coming to our workshop, Liz?
I think he's coming in January. Oh, now I'm all fuzzy. Okay, that'll clear up in a second. But here, if I do this, it'll clear up. You can all see my palm of my hand. Okay, it'll get clear in just a second. But one of the things that we do at Celebrate Your Life events, and we've been doing this for 30 years, is bringing together spiritual community, is bringing together all of the teachers that you know and love and adore. And it brings us back to our hearts. It brings us back to our centers, and especially working with Gregg Braden and Dr. Bruce and Anita Morjani and Dr. Sue Morter. We're doing an event, and this is a perfect time for me to share my screen because my screen is really blurry.
I'm glad it's your screen and not my eyes.
Exactly. It's definitely my screen. And so just so you're all aware, we're doing this event in January in Scottsdale. with, I think, four of the greatest teachers of science and spirituality of our times, four of the greatest game changers, I think, in the world. So I'm super excited by this. And it's on January 16 through 19, and it's going to take place in Arizona in Scottsdale. So I'm hoping that you, all of you out there watching and hanging with us, know that there's a place that supports everything that Gregg is talking about. And here's the URL, and hopefully that won't be blurry. Here's the URL for those of you that would like to join us. And I'm going to take, just for 2 seconds, I need to put Kitten outside of the room. I will be right back.
So while you're doing that, can I just let me just share with our community? You okay if I do that, Liz?
Yes,
please. Come back whenever you're ready.
Okay.
No, you all. I want to thank everyone for clicking the link that is connecting us tonight. It means a lot because I know we all have full lives and we're very busy. I want to make the best of our time. I want this conversation to be relevant to what you're seeing happening in the world. Obviously, this is no ordinary time in human history. It's no ordinary time in the history of our nation, the United States, or any other nation. Here's the reason. There's a concerted effort between now and 5 years from now, from 2025 until the year 2030. There's a concerted effort to change our world in ways that we've never seen. Social engineering, geoengineering, and we all know that. But here's what's so different about now. There's also a concerted effort in the next 5 years to change our bodies in ways that we've never seen because we've never had the technology. You and I are going to be inundated, indoctrinated with marketing, slick marketing, making it look really enticing to accept technology inside of our bodies without being given the consequences of what that means. Bruce, Anita, Sue, and myself, we've come together from our respective lives of study. I did some quick math, Liz. We've got 150 years of collective wisdom coming together for, because most of us have spent, well, all of us, we've spent our entire adult lives exploring the deep truth of what it means to be human and the different facets of our humanness. Anita, from beyond the veil of death. Dr. Sue and I actually parallel a lot of our traditions, studying the indigenous traditions of our ancestors and traveling and the science and the power of human emotion. And Bruce certainly as a cell biologist that was doing cloning in the 1960s, if you can believe that. Well, it is. So from our unique perspectives, we want people to have the knowledge, because knowledge is power, and the tools, the practical tools, and the techniques to awaken this extraordinary potential that lives within us so that we have everything we need. And here's the key. We don't want to win against anything, the battle for our humanness. We want to triumph. And the way we triumph is by learning to be the best version of ourselves, living the deep truth of what it means to be human, loving fearlessly, forgiving without expectation, healing without the guilt that often comes from that healing, imagination, creativity, and the ability to communicate what we envision, what we imagine, what we create without fear of repercussions. These are facets of human divinity. This is our birthright. We're wired to thrive through times just like this. We want you to have the tools for the next 5 years. We're going to get through this, and we're going to get through it together. And Liz, we're going to have a celebration event after we get through it together.
Exactly.
The key is
my camera won't be blurry. I don't know why my camera's blurry, everyone. I apologize.
We want everyone to come in with a soft landing. That's where we're going. So I know, Liz, you mentioned you're going to do one of these Facebook Lives with each of the presenters, and then we'll have one together. But I just want to, from my perspective, I just want to take the time I just want to thank everyone for everything you're doing to be the best version of yourself right now and to create the best world possible now, because we need every single one of you, and we need you right now, and we need you to step up full on with everything you've got, all of your humanness, so we can love this world into the new world that we know is possible. That's what I want to
Absolutely.
say. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're going to be doing that at the event in January. So for those of you who are just joining us, take a look at the information. Four of the greatest luminaries of our time of science and spirituality. We're coming together for an amazing gathering on, it's called Transcendence, Powerful Fusion of Science and Spirituality. And it features, of course, our fabulous Gregg, the wonderful Anita Morjani, the brilliant Dr. Bruce Lipton, and the just heartfelt and loving Dr. Sue Morter on January 16th through 19th in Scottsdale, Arizona. This is truly an unprecedented convergence of sacred wisdom. This is an event that you definitely don't want to miss. Take a train, take a plane, walk there, get there. You're going to absolutely love it. And it is so, so, so needed. Yes, Diane, absolutely. And when the
You know, we don't even know if we'll ever do it again just because of our schedules. It took us 3 years to get the schedules to be able to do this. So
I know, and we're going to have workshops and panel discussions, and Barry Goldstein, who is a soul musician.
And I was just going to say that. Yes. Grammy award-winning musician Barry Goldstein is going to be with us through the entire program to support all the meditations, all of the sharing, all of the techniques we're going to be doing. And I think he's doing a live concert as well. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. On that Saturday night, he's going to be doing a live concert presentation for all of us. So let me ask you something before we kind of sign off here. What are just a couple of tools that we can all use right now to sort of uplift and thrive in the times that we're in right now? Because I know a lot of people are feeling that these are challenging times. Yep. Things are uncertain all over the globe. And so what can, maybe just a couple of things that we can do, a little daily practice to help support staying in our hearts, staying grounded in the truth and the wisdom of who we truly are?
Well, Liz, first, the greatest tool we have is a shift in our thinking. And I know a lot of people don't think of that as a tool. It does absolutely no good to attempt to drop into some form of advanced meditation when our mind is telling us that we are not worthy of the benefits of that meditation, or our mind is reeling in fear and uncertainty. Here's one of the greatest tools, and it's not a conventional tool. Liz, we're going to get through this together, and there is a deeply, deeply spiritual element in everything that we're talking about here. And the question is, we're going to get through it. What have we become in the presence of everything that life has brought to our doorstep? Have we allowed the events of the world to drive us into a primal aspect of our being, into a hate, or into a fear, or into a resentment, something we would never want to be in a million years? Or are we able to look at the events that life brings to our doorstep and recognize that the choices we make from the love of what we know is possible rather than the fear of what happens if we don't? This is very, very important. This is a deep spiritual principle. When I spent time with the monks and the nuns in Tibet, 12 monasteries, 2 nunneries over 26 days. Wow. This is one of the first things they talked to us about. They said, before you do the meditations, before you begin the compassion work, you've got to change your thinking. That opens the door to the possibilities of what your body is capable of. So we just went through a very difficult election. And in some respects, it's not over yet, because we still got between now and an inauguration. Right. Everyone has to ask themselves the question, whatever their response was, did the response come from their love of their family and those that stand behind them and what they know is possible? Or did the response come from the fear and the hate and the anger and the revenge for what they saw in front of them? That's a very powerful spiritual concept. The question, here's a question that we can ask ourselves, and I ask myself every single day: do we love ourselves enough? And you can ask yourself on a personal level, do I love myself enough to embrace the deep truth of what it means to be a human in this world, and the responsibility that comes with the power of being human, the ability for empathy, the ability for sympathy, the ability with a single word we can elevate or we can destroy another individual. And we rarely think about that. Do we love ourselves enough to embrace the deep truth of what it means to be human and that responsibility? And the answer then becomes the actions that we choose every moment after we ask the question. Every moment after we ask that question, every moment of our lives, we either choose and affirm life or we deny life in our bodies. So it's not enough to do some advanced meditation and then go out and eat crappy food and say bad things to the people around you. So this is a very, very powerful spiritual perspective. When we make the choices, do we choose, are we affirming life or are we denying life? And fear and anger and hate and hateful speech and revenge are all facets of that fear that we're talking about.
Wow.
So I mean, we can always talk about meditations. We can talk about heart-brain coherence, and most of our community knows that. But this is deeper. This is something that is so much deeper, because we've got to change the environment of the thinking within the body before we can drop in. How do you do a deep meditation when your body is reeling from anger or hate or fear? The stress chemicals are kicked up, your blood pressure is kicked up, your heart rate variability has dropped. How can you have an effective meditation? So it begins with something we take for granted, Liz, a shift in the way we think about ourselves and our relationship to the world.
Totally 100% agree with you. And not just who are thinking about how we see the world, but it's also how we see ourselves, our colleagues, people we work with, family, loved ones around us. Because I've noticed when I'm in the place of having thoughts that don't serve me, my feelings follow that. But if I have thoughts that do serve me and do serve humanity, my thoughts and feelings are serving me and honoring me. And
what you're talking about are
human being.
what you're talking about are expressions of human divinity. So we either affirm or we deny. We have the power. We have free will. We can deny our divinity, and we could deny our divine processes. And many people do it every day because it's familiar and safe. The real risk is stepping out and embracing our divinity and then living in our lives what that divinity means in our hearts. And that, I think, is where the workshop begins.
Yes. Ooh, don't you all just love hanging out with Gregg? On this fabulous, what is today? Wednesday? Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday. On this fabulous Wednesday.
Yeah.
Someone is asking you, are you familiar with A Course in Miracles? And I know, of course, you are.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then someone else asked, is there a Facebook group for the attendees of the retreat? Yes, there are. And for those of you that just joined us, I'm Liz Dawn with Celebrate Your Life Events, and I'm here with the fabulous 5-time New York Times bestselling author, Gregg Braden. And we are talking about thriving in times of challenge and connecting with our humanness and our divinity. We're also talking about, and we're sharing that Gregg is going to be a featured presenter with some of his favorite colleagues and teachers at an event in January, on January 16 through 19 in Scottsdale, with Dr. Sue Morter, with Bruce Lipton, Anita Morjani, and Gregg Braden. Super, super excited for this. Absolutely massive convergence of brilliant, amazing wisdom. So you got to be there. And I've posted the URL for those of you that are interested in joining us. The URL is right below our video, and I'm posting it in the comments as well. So,
hey, Liz,
yes.
Liz, you may want to mention that the location of this event is not a bad place to be in January.
Oh yeah, why don't you talk about that?
Well, we're hosting this event in Scottsdale, Arizona. And for most of you in the Northern Hemisphere, January it's a little chilly wherever we are, and Scottsdale is the exception. It's probably one of the most beautiful times of year. It's in a beautiful resort where people have the opportunity to have access to all of the resort things to chill in between our sessions. And I don't want to give it all away, Liz, but it's a beautiful place, and
Yeah.
it's in your backyard, Liz. So
It's in my backyard.
thank you for inviting us to your home.
Thank you. Of course, you're all coming to my house. All right,
Yeah.
all 500 of you. And yes, of course, Judith, I will definitely be there because it's a Celebrate Your Life event. So we are the, I guess, creators, producers of it, and we bring together all of these amazing, fabulous spiritual luminaries all in one place at one time. And I've been wanting to do this program for about 2 or 3 years. And this is the first time that Bruce and Gregg and Anita and Dr. Sue have their schedule available to be there all at once. So this is kind of unprecedented. So I hope you'll all join us. All right, everyone.
Are you saying that we're winding down? Is this winding down energy?
That was
All right,
my
well,
winding down.
I want to take just a moment. Thank everyone. Thank you for your trust on clicking on the link, because when you see a Facebook Live, the truth is you never know what you're clicking on. That takes trust. We appreciate it. Check out this event. Read more information about it if it speaks to you. You know, one of the most beautiful things, the unspoken beautiful things about events like this, first of all, is a live event. And there is something that happens with community and live events that cannot be replicated any other way. And all the speakers, we've all seen this over the years, and that's why we love and continue to do these live events. Some of us are in our 70s and even 80s, and we are still doing these. I've not mentioned any names.
Not me. I am not in my 70s.
Well, I am, and I'm excited to still do events in my 70s, and I hope to keep doing it for many more years. But there is an element of community that happens, and it's something you just have to experience. It's hard to describe, but it's something we experience. But what I will say is this: what the science shows us is that every human heart, the energy field around every human heart, extends between 3 to 5 feet, measured by the equipment. On the quantum level, the scientists say it's probably infinite. When we are immersed in that room, what's happening is we're all within 3 to 5 feet of another heart. We are sharing a heart field of hundreds of human hearts. And what that means is whatever processes we go to or go through, it facilitates, it makes it easier when there are more hearts in the room, so that we know, we have a point of reference. And then when we're on our own, we have a better sense of what it is that we're striving to attain. And Liz, what I know as a producer myself in the past, it's easier not to do an event than it is to do an event. And so I want to thank you for your vision and your perseverance and your dedication and your wisdom and the awesome team that you pull together and the time you take away from your family, to all of your family, to make this possible. And I feel very blessed, lucky, excited, and I am really wired. I wish we were doing it right now. I wish we were starting right now.
I know. We have to call the other three and say, come on, let's go. This is taking place. Someone asked if it's online. No, it's in person. It's actually live. It's actually heart to heart. It's actually soul to soul. And what I love about, you just said it. I've been doing this 30 years as of 2025. 30 years I've been producing and creating live, mostly live, some online, but mostly 99% live events with some of the greatest spiritual teachers in the world. And this one is no exception. We've got 4 of the greatest game changers of our time coming together for this live retreat in Arizona. And all I can tell you is that when you come to one of our programs, you're surrounded by such a loving, supportive community. And you walk away feeling as if I'm not alone. There are other people all around the globe that think just like I do. And you can have thought-provoking, inspiring conversations. And you walk away with a whole new soul tribe of friends from all over the world. So come be with us. All right.
Check it out. Thank you. Love you all.
The link is right there, soul.co. celebrateyourlife.com. One more time. That's the word soul, SOUL, celebrateyourlife.com. All right, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. Bye-bye.
Stay right there, Greg.